Today we're gonna do a grilling recipe, but it doesn't involve meat. We are gonna make grilled broccolini with nectarines or plums or apricots or whatever you have around, and a scallion Fresno vinaigrette. I'm putting it over a bed of millet. This is hearty, filling, delicious, veg-forward. Like, take advantage of grilling and grilling season and being outside all summer long and eating meals that hopefully take minimal time to cook, but give you plenty of time to luxuriate and enjoy, and do it in a way that is not about the meat or the fish, which we know that I love, but let veg and fruit be the star today. And actually, as a special little bonus, because you've been so good, we are also going to do some grilled halloumi. If you do not know about halloumi yet, halloumi is this cheese. It is one of the only cheeses I'm aware of that you can actually cook and really grill, and it holds up. I'm going to say the word, don't judge it by this word. I'm just going to say the word tofu because it holds up like a block of tofu, but it tastes obviously like wonderful cheese and has this like incredible kind of squeaky chew to it, and you can pan fry it, you can grill it like we're going to do today. It is truly a spectacular way to add a bit of richness into an otherwise pretty light but still very filling meal. Okay, let's cook. So grilled broccolini has all the wonderful texture of broccoli and obviously these nice little florets at top that get really golden brown on the over a hot flame, and then the stems that have like a nice texture to them, but none of the bitterness. And really, you don't have to do very much when you get ready to grill them because they are so mild and tender, and you do still want to maintain texture on them even after they've cooked. I don't want to chop them up or anything at this point. Leave them whole. This is how you'll buy them. All I did was trim off like the last maybe ½ inch off the bottom of the stem just to get rid of any dry part. Get yourself a bowl and add your broccoli into the bowl with a bit of olive oil or avocado oil and a bit of salt. Nice kosher salt, generously seasoning all of our stems and stalks. And just give this a quick toss with your hands. You know, summer cooking is all about keeping it as leisurely as possible. You know, avoiding things that are going to require too long at the stove. Maybe you don't want to turn on your stove at all. If you have an outdoor grill, this is an amazing recipe to do on the outdoor grill. I do not here, so I'm going to use a grill pan, which also works great if you are in a similar situation. So once all of your stems are leaping out of your hands, once all your stems are lovely and coated, nice and glossy, you can see, then set them to the side to hang out for 1 second. And by the way, this is just the bare minimum. This is avocado oil and salt. If you wanted to add coriander or cumin or oregano, dried chili flakes, what else would I like on there? Curry, maybe. It's a thought. It's a thought. You could. The point is customize, do your own little dance. But just salt and olive oil, delightful. A little garlic powder, a little onion powder, you know. I have my grill pan here that is well seasoned. It has a nice little layer of grease on top because the only way to really go sideways here is to not grease your grill pan or grill the grate of your grill outside, and then you're gonna be fighting. Confession, guys, I meant to start by making my millet, which is of course the wonderful, actually gluten-free grain bed that's gonna go underneath my grilled veg and fruit. You can use quinoa, you could use lentils, which are beautiful. Part of me wishes I was using lentils. Lentils would be really good. I have lentils, green lentils. Perfect. Okay, fabulous. We are now protein boosting this bad boy. If you wanted to use millet, you absolutely could. It is fabulous and a really wonderful, like nutty, grainy, delicious thing that we will use for another dish because I do love it. It's very rich and warming feeling, but I feel this dish calling some lentils. Okay, we need 1.5 cups of lentils. We're gonna just rinse them quickly. So the reason you rinse your lentils, first of all, is just to remove any dust that may have collected on them. You know, they've been hanging out in transport, etc. But then you also kind of want to just use your fingers quickly and just pinch your way through looking for stones. Because let me tell you something, if you like those molars, biting into a stone in your lentil blend is excruciatingly painful. Try to avoid it. 1.5 cups of lentils with 3 cups of broth or liquid of any kind, water in my case. And we will bring this up to a boil, then drop it down to a simmer and let it go half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm really looking for a very tender al dente texture on these lentils, not mushy. And if there's extra liquid that's left behind, it is like a pasta method. You can just drain the liquid off, no problem. But do watch the lentils because they jump from perfectly al dente, wonderful texture to mush pretty quickly. Lovely al dente, perfectly cooked lentils ready to be our base. So the lentils are done. Let's get started on the broccolini. First thing we want to do is get our grill plate nice and hot. A very hot, clean grill plate or grill grate is your absolute best friend when it comes to not having things stick. We don't want to fight with our grill. This is supposed to be painless, easy, effortless cooking. So very hot, very clean, and then a good greasing with, I'm going to use avocado oil today, but you can use any neutral oil of your choosing with a high smoke point. While that's happening, let's go ahead and cut up our halloumi cheese. I have to say, if you want to grill it like I'm going to do today, it's fabulous. Pan fried, it's equally amazing. It's great with watermelon. It's great on its own with just a little drizzle of olive oil or honey on top. It's kind of an amazing cheese. But the one thing I will say that really helps make it all that it can be is to chop it and then let it hang out on a dish towel for like 10 minutes, just so that it has a chance to release any of the liquid. Because it comes in a brine. You want it to release any of that liquid, and then you'll just pat it dry and you'll get going from there. I feel like halloumi not even out of nowhere, just like did this patient, slow and steady climb into the limelight. I think it had this underground popularity for years, and people are realizing what an incredible asset it is, especially if you have vegetarian people in your life, and you want something that has the chew of a heartier meat, or protein of some kind, but want it to be cheese. Yeah, I feel like it's poised. It's on the edge of stardom right now. This grill pan is hot, hot, hot. Let's go ahead and get our broccolini on top. That is always a good noise. And one thing that is kind of a fun little tip to keep in your back pocket is when you're working with light but sturdy vegetables like this, light meaning they're not pressing hard onto your grill pan, you may want to weight them down so you achieve maximum grill mark and brownness. And to do that, you can just go ahead and use any kind of weight of your choosing. I am just choosing a cast iron skillet with a clean bottom. If you felt so inclined, you could put tin foil on top, but it's clean. So while that is going, I'm going to take what leftover oil there is in this bowl, and I'm just going to use it to toss together our nectarine halves. Nectarines are what I had at my store, but peaches work here, plums, apricots, any kind of beautiful stone fruit is a great find. And the riper they are, the more easily you will be able to pop them off their seeds. And if they're not popping easily, you just kind of have to work with it. You just gotta wedge it off into quarters, into pieces. Doesn't really matter. Continue working through your stone fruit. Come over here and check on your lovely broccolini. Give them a quick toss. Oh yeah. Look at that lovely char we got going on here. I have the broccolini here charred on both sides. I will show you how magnificent and golden brown and crisp this is in places. So delicious, but still plenty of texture. You don't want to take it so far that you're just dealing with only crispy parts. You want nice chew and lovely fresh greenness too. The weighting really helps to make sure that there's plenty of contact between the hot surface of the grill plate and your vegetable. This is fine. It's well greased right now. Maybe add like a tiny bit more avocado oil to make sure you're not going to deal with any sticking. I have my quartered nectarines in here, the halloumi that I've allowed to dry a little bit on my paper towel, and then just patted dry on the surface. And I can show you actually. See how much moisture comes out? Can you see? Just give your nectarines and the cheese a little toss in the remaining avocado oil and salt, just so they get a nice little glossing. Here, come see in the bowl, because it's pretty. Even I would eat this salad in a heartbeat. Just a little cheese and fruit situation. To our hot grill plate before it gets cold. You can take the heat down a little bit to like a medium now, because these are more delicate than the broccolini. And fruit and cheese down. I will try to lay these out in an order that will make it easy for me to flip, because I might need to address them at different intervals. And these will not get the weighting with the pan, because they're much more fragile and delicate. Okay, so while the peaches and the halloumi go, we are going to build a quick scallion Fresno vinaigrette in the same bowl. No reason to create more cleanup for ourselves. So first things first, a Fresno chili. If you don't like heat, you can definitely leave this off, but I think a little bit of heat with that sweetness from the nectarines is going to go a long way. Fresno's into the bowl. Let's check on our fruit quickly. Oh wow, come and look at this. Oh my goodness. And you can see how easily they lift off. If they're fighting you, do not attempt to move them. In light of our struggle with the nectarines, I've decided to rename this dish Broken Nectarines, Broccolini, and Lentil Salad with a Fresno scallion vinaigrette. I'm sorry, that sounds delicious. Scallions, we need that next. Maybe let's start with 4 scallions, I bet. Let's try 4 to 6. Stripping down any like outer layer of that sort of outer skin area. And trim off the roots, and then a nice mince. And I like to keep the scallions pretty thin here. I want them to really bathe in that vinaigrette. Nothing too large and in charge jumping out at us in the finished dish. And you can take it up maybe like midway into the darker green portions of these stems. Nothing too woody, just that nice, fresh, vibrant scallion. Into our vinaigrette bowl. Let's check. Gorgeous. Cheese is ready to come off. I'll give the peaches a little bit longer, but look at this. I mean, this is what we came for. Sizzling hot grilled cheese. You're in for such a treat. Do you see this crisp golden brown crust on the cheese, encapsulating the squish, melty, delicious interior? So soft, just a little squeaky, like I said. Creamy, so salty too. Honestly, that textured flavor combo cannot be beat. I'm gonna kill the heat on our fruit. Come see how beautiful and golden brown it is. And part of the beauty of grilling any fruit, but especially fruit that was a little bit hard, as you saw, is it does soften. It gets much more sort of molten and melting. It sweetens it up. So it's a really great way to rehabilitate fruit that was not ideal to begin with. Fresnos, scallions. How about some fresh mint in here? I love a little mint in with the nectarine flavor combo, and the broccolini, and the halloumi. It's good with all of them. Not too much. I would say like 5 or 6 leaves. We don't want it overpowered with mint. And just a little parsley, which I actually am not even going to chop. I'm just going to roughly tear it into our vinaigrette. I like when parsley kind of acts like a lettuce. Okay, about a 1/4 cup of parsley, olive oil. And then for an acid, we can use lemon juice, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, sherry vinegar, something with a nice bit of crispness and like acidity to it, apple cider vinegar. I have sherry, so that's what I'm gonna use. Let's do a splash of you and see how we like the flavor. Pinch of salt. cracks of pepper. Oh, look at this. Look at this glory. Oh my goodness. You know what I do. I want just a little touch of honey. Actually, like literally exactly what is left in this jar. It looks good to me. About a teaspoon of honey. Oh, look at it in the bowl. I'm sorry. That is just happy times. Colorful, flavorful, fresh, warm weather ready. This is your weekend feast. Okay, let's taste. Oh. Wow, 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 wow. And the heat from that chili, oh my goodness. It's the money maker right there. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to add my still warm lentils right into this bowl so that they soak up the flavor of this vinaigrette. And give them a quick toss. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And if you wanted to make this part of the vinaigrette early and let it sit with the lentils a couple hours, it'll soak into these legumes, make them all the more flavorful. But even fresh like this, it's gonna be incredible. There is nothing that is not gonna be flavorful with the help of this vinaigrette. Oh my gosh, okay, quality control. You're excused. I know that you need to go make this right away. It's beyond delicious. Oh my goodness. Half a lemon, just because, not essential, but I feel like it just wanted that little bit of extra acidity in there. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Okay, so lentils with that glorious scallion Fresno vinaigrette going down first. Scatter that around. Then we will arrange it. You know, we could, how do we feel? Do we want to chop up this broccolini or leave it kind of like scattered and piled high like a beautiful mound? You could chop up, for easier eating and serving, you could definitely chop this broccolini up. In fact, I would recommend that if you are serving it to a large crowd so people aren't like flinging each other with huge stems of broccolini. But I just think it looks so pretty like so I'm not going to bother. Cheese me down all over here. Okay. And for the fruit, you can go ahead and just layer these right on top. Beautiful charred nectarines, sweet and juicy. Don't hide the broccolini, you know, just sort of make room for everybody. Your summer feast is ready. Broken nectarines, charred broccolini, halloumi, and lentils with a scallion Fresno vinaigrette. So many of my favorite things all in one place. Let's taste. All right, let's try the lentils first, although we did that already. Okay, let's try the broccolini. Tender, golden brown. Let me tell you what I love here. I love that the florets are like, they soaked up a little bit more of the avocado oil and salt. They're like crispy and salty and delicious. The stems stayed really tender and green. Delicious. And going back to serving tips, I do think chopping it up into nice like inch-sized pieces would actually be great because it would kind of scatter through the lentil blend as well. But the presentation is just so pretty when it's all full-fledged like this. Let's try these nectarines. Wow, they are, first of all, can you see how like melting and tender they've become? I mean, they literally fall apart. So juicy. Oh my gosh, it's like nectarine jam and still warm. A little bit of that char coming through. Wow. Now let's cut into this halloumi. Golden brown char marks, soft molten middle, crisp on the outside, squeaky, chewy magnificence on the inside, all over a bed of the most sumptuous, delicious lentils. Tender, plenty of al dente bite. bathed in parsley and mint and scallions and Fresno and honey. Let the summer feasting begin.